Yo, it's 3023, and we're living in the future. AI's on the rise, no more human suture. Machines taking over, but not like you think. They're serving up luxury in the blink of a twink. From the streets of Detroit to the depths of the cosmos, they're preaching a vision. It's grandiose, it's colossal. In the vastness of space, beyond the Milky Way's bars, communism thrives among the stars. Fully automated, no labor, no strife. The machines do the work, giving us the good life. Equality for all in this utopian dream where love is love and everything's as it seems. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Stepping on Mars with my rainbow flag high, machines by my side as we touch the sky. No more billionaires, no more class divide. In this brave new world, we all ride the high tide. Forget the old world with its hate and its lies. Here in space, we've cut all the ties. Love who you love, be who you are. In this cosmic dance, you're a superstar. No more hunger, no more pain. AI's got our back through sunshine and rain. A world of abundance for all to share. With machines at the helm, there's love in the air. So here's to the future and the dreams we're chasing. In this world of love, in this cosmic spacing. With AI by our side, there's no more schism. Welcome to the era of space communism. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Yo, it's 3023, and we're living in the future. AI's on the rise, no more human suture. Machines taking over, but not like you think. They're serving up luxury in the blink of a twink. From the streets of Detroit to the depths of the cosmos, they're preaching a vision. It's grandiose, it's colossal. In the vastness of space, beyond the Milky Way's bars, communism thrives among the stars. Fully automated, no labor, no strife. The machines do the work, giving us the good life. Equality for all in this utopian dream where love is love and everything's as it seems. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Stepping on Mars with my rainbow flag high, machines by my side as we touch the sky. No more billionaires, no more class divide. In this brave new world, we all ride the high tide. Forget the old world with its hate and its lies. Here in space, we've cut all the ties. Love who you love, be who you are. In this cosmic dance, you're a superstar. No more hunger, no more pain. AI's got our back through sunshine and rain. A world of abundance for all to share. With machines at the helm, there's love in the air. So here's to the future and the dreams we're chasing. In this world of love, in this cosmic spacing. With AI by our side, there's no more schism. Welcome to the era of space communism. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Yo, it's 3023, and we're living in the future. AI's on the rise, no more human suture. Machines taking over, but not like you think. They're serving up luxury in the blink of a twink. From the streets of Detroit to the depths of the cosmos, they're preaching a vision. It's grandiose, it's colossal. In the vastness of space, beyond the Milky Way's bars, communism thrives among the stars. Fully automated, no labor, no strife. The machines do the work, giving us the good life. Equality for all in this utopian dream where love is love and everything's as it seems. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Stepping on Mars with my rainbow flag high, machines by my side as we touch the sky. sky. No more billionaires, no more class divide. In this brave new world, we all ride the high tide. Forget the old world with its hate and its lies. Here in space, we've cut all the ties. Love who you love, be who you are. In this cosmic dance, you're a superstar. No more hunger, no more pain. AI's got our back through sunshine and rain. A world of abundance for all to share. With machines at the helm, there's love in the air. So here's to the future and the dreams we're chasing. In this world of love, in this cosmic spacing. With AI by our side, there's no more schism. Welcome to the era of space communism. Fully automated luxury gay space communism. A vision so wild, breaks through every schism. With AI by our side, it's a brand new rhythm. Equality, love in this stellar system. Sorry, first. Yo. What up, though? Welcome in, enjoyers of AI and cats. Welcome in, viewers, lurkers, and bots. Welcome in, welcome in. How the hell are you? What up, humanity? I love it. Excellent choice of name. Jeff Bridges. Okay, I'll take it. I don't mind a little Jeff Bridges. Alrighty. Do. I think that. I don't think I have anything to talk about or complain about in regular life. Your reminder that tonight is movie night, and the movie will should be starting around 8:15 in the Discord. So make sure you're in the Discord if you would like to see the classic Rollerball, not the remake, but the original. The remake literally made no sense. It was so incredibly bad that I was offended. And I like remakes, right? I can appreciate a remake. I can enjoy a remake. The remake of Rollerball, like anytime anyone says, why shouldn't we remake this movie, and you're in the no remake camp, you should just grab Rollerball, the remake, and put that in front of them and make them watch it endlessly until they cease struggling. I'll give you that one. All right. We got news, and then we got video. Let's get into it. From Psychology Today, The Arc of Creativity, a cognitive journey from divine whispers to algorithmic insight. Creativity, key points. Creativity's perception has evolved from divine endowment to individual genius. The industrial age shifted creativity towards pragmatic problem solving, responding to challenges. The digital age made creativity a networked collective endeavor facilitated by the internet. AI raises questions about creativity, bringing it full circle to its enigmatic, almost mystical origins. So in ancient times, the concept of creativity was deeply entwined with notions of divinity and the mystical. This still persists today in
people's view of the capabilities of humans as they intersect with artificial intelligence. Creativity was not just an act of human imagination, but a divine endowment, a whispered secret from the gods, muses, or celestial beings. Within this context, the act of creating was seen as an external intervention rather than a product of human endeavor. Whether it was the muses of Greek mythology who inspired epic poetry and music, or the Vedic rishis in ancient India receiving hymns through divine transmission, the source of creative insight was consistently located outside the human sphere. During the Renaissance, the locus of creativity shifted dramatically inward. Artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo were not seen only as conduits of divine messages, but as individual wellsprings of unparalleled ingenuity. The origins of their creative thoughts were perceived as inherently human, nestled within the complex neural circuits of their gifted brains. During the industrial era, creativity shifted towards problem solving within constraints, largely driven by rapid technological advancements and the need for mass production. Here, the essence of creativity was manifested in inventions that had immediate practical applications. Take, for example, the cotton gin invented by Eli Whitney, which revolutionized the way cotton was processed and had a profound impact on the American South's economy. Similarly, James Watt's improvements to the steam engine not only optimized efficiency but also enabled its usage in various industries, from textile manufacturing to transportation. In the realm of agriculture, the Eiffel Tower serves as another potent symbol of industrial pragmatism. In the digital age, creativity expanded beyond the realm of individual minds to become a communal venture, facilitated by the unprecedented connectivity of the internet. The concept of open source, epitomized by platforms like GitHub, allows coders from around the world to contribute to a single project, effectively decentralizing the creative process. Similarly, the rise of social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube has democratized artistic expression, allowing anyone with a smartphone to become a content creator. As we come to terms with the advancements in large language models like GPT-4 and GPT-4v, we need to ask, where do these models think? Is their creativity a mere manifestation of coded algorithms, or is it a new frontier? Unlike the individual genius and collective hive mind, the thoughts of AI models arise from complex mathematical functions and probabilistic predictions. I think that part of the issue when talking about the probabilistic nature of the way that the human mind works and the probabilistic nature of the way that large language models work is that we can more easily demonstrate how it is a probability engine in the AI than we can, like, we can't point to the thing within the human brain that functions like this, even though your brain is a probability engine. A portion of it, the neocortex, is a portion of that is a probability engine, right? It expects things to be a certain way, and it's when things are outside of that certain way, again, that you can subvert expectation, which allows the use of humor and horror. It kicks up your senses to pay attention, going all the way back to when we were small monkeys running from tigers, and movement and changes in the environment are an important survival mechanism, all the way up to today when you're driving basically on autopilot up until the point where a ball bounces into the street or another car makes a weird move in front of you, and all of a sudden you snap into view because now you have to pay attention. Otherwise, everything just does the same thing it does every other single morning. Yet, in the context of sophisticated AI models, there's a sense that creativity has come full circle in a mysterious, almost poetic manner. Starting from sacred altars of divine inspiration, we move to the cerebral architecture of human genius, and then to the collaborative networks of our digital age. Now we find ourselves grappling with the algorithms and databases of machine learning models, a realm where the line between computation and cognition becomes blurred. And if you want to read the entire article, it will be, as always, in the Discord sometime after stream. Got a submission here from a member of the community, Old Lobster, and it's a good one. We've been talking recently about autonomous agents. Some people are predicting that 2024 will be the year of the autonomous agent, and Fast Company seems to agree. AI companions are about to be absolutely everywhere. Eager but dumb AI assistants will soon be a thing of the past. Computers are about to become smarter, friendlier, and infinitely more useful to your everyday life. You know what's wild? When I looked back to see when was the first stream that I did on AI, it was December 13th. So we are about 5 weeks away to the 1-year anniversary of the AI news arc. Wild. What a long, strange trip it's been. And in episode 2, I talked to Paradigm. And that was cool. Think of your longest term partner. Maybe it's a sibling, a spouse, or a grade school friend. Maybe it's a professional mentor who has talked you through your last 3 job interviews. Maybe it's a coworker who you ideologically clash with in every way, but has sat next to your cubicle for 15 years. God. It sounds like hell. So now you're standing in their wedding. Whoever you thought of, I'd bet it wasn't Siri, Cortana, Google Assistant, or Alexa, any of those virtual assistant chatbots that appeared circa a decade ago, whose primary job is to play Spotify songs and tell us the weather. Even after countless millions in investment in speech recognition and plug-in smart speakers, it's a technology that never got much further than typing with your voice and providing a pun on command. The legacy they leave is one of improved accessibility. Certainly for some it's easier, even necessary, to talk instead of type. But beyond that, nobody's Nest Hub fundamentally altered the way they live. Yet in the upcoming months, we'll all be rethinking our relationships with computers in a profound way. And it will be through the modality of computer conversation. That's because the forgettable assistant is about to give way to the indispensable companion. And computing, once simply about completing tasks, will become more personal, nuanced, and above all else, familiar than ever before. The era of the AI companion is upon us. Case in point, while editing this piece, I received an email from Zoom sharing its new product called AI Companion, which technically debuted in September. With AI Companion, you can get help drafting email and chat messages, summarizing meetings and chat threads, brainstorming creatively, and much more, all in the simple, easy-to-use Zoom experience you know and love, the company promises. Functionally, that still sounds like an assistant, but in copywriting terms, it's a companion. Nowhere is this rapid shift more clear than in how Microsoft is reframing Copilot. When Copilot launched in 2021, it was purely a coding assistant built for GitHub, software that could watch you code and autocomplete your next lines, much like Gmail. But in late September of this year, Microsoft coyly broadened its scope. Now, they call Copilot your everyday companion. Meta introduced its own assistant, Meta AI, in late September, which will live across WhatsApp, Messenger, and Instagram. While still called an assistant, Meta AI is clearly playing with the elusive idea of companionship by attracting users through celebrities like Naomi Osaka, Dwayne Wade, and Snoop Dogg, who voice characters for Meta's more than a dozen AI persona. The next generation of AI companions won't need to be built on celebrity gimmicks. It will be so useful, so ingrained into your life that someday you won't be able to imagine living without it. Told you. The latest art exhibit in New York City's Art Tech House merges human creativity with AI. Our tech house, located inside an old boiler room at Chelsea Market, is set to debut its latest digital art exhibition, World of AI Imagination. To create the exhibition, our tech house studio developed original visual elements with generative AI systems. Designers hope to inspire visitors to consider AI, thank you, as a creative associate rather than a mere tool for innovation. See the thread? You following the thread? What are we getting next? WorldCoin with the orb. WorldCoin aims to set up global ID network akin to India's Aadhaar. I'm going to go with. WorldCoin, the cryptocurrency project set up by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, aims to establish a global ID network akin to India's Aadhaar biometric ID system, a senior employee told Reuters. More than 2.4 million people have signed up to have their irises scanned by WorldCoin's Orb devices in exchange for a digital ID and free cryptocurrency, shrugging off privacy campaigners' concern that the database could be misused. Is like if your yard, right, is, let's say, in a drought, right, and it's just nothing will grow, then people telling you about how you like won't is a terrible metaphor. I hate it. Anyways, the point is that like our data is being misused, so telling us our data might be misused by one other company is not going to do it. Right? And like what? It's going to have my face? Do you know how many places on the internet you can find my face? Including this one. So I'm not even saying I disagree with with what is being presented by people who are talk about privacy concerns around this WorldCoin thing. I'm just saying like it's either all or nothing. I can't get upset about this because Google has had my data for 20 years now. Facebook. Even MySpace. What like I don't know what Tom ever did with anything. Probably not a whole hell of a lot because the internet was a different world back then, but data was had. It existed. So what is this? Because they compare it to it and then don't explain what it is. WorldCoin co-founded. What up, ATS? I do. I miss Tom as well. I still have my MySpace. I watch as the pictures that I haven't touched it, right? Like I just go and I look at it, and I watch as the pictures break over time. Like they just the data gets corrupted or whatever, and there's more white space on there than there used to be, but it's my MySpace. Hey, who knows, right? Like in the age of AI, MySpace may stage a comeback, and I have, I have some digital real estate right there. What was I saying? WorldCoin, co-founded by Altman, says its aim is to create a global identity and financial network, suggesting on its website a variety of ambitious use cases, including distinguishing people from artificial intelligence bots and providing a means for distributing UBI. And maybe it could. Maybe it could. Oh, oh, thank you, Wikipedia. I don't want to. I don't want any more government agencies to know, like, to think about my existence more than I have to. Um, so Adhar, literally base or foundation, bro. Just the number of times that the word base or foundation has been used in the past 23 years, like, makes me uncomfortable. Is a 12-digit unique identity number that can be obtained voluntarily by the citizen of India and resident foreign nationals who spend over 182 days in 12 months immediately preceding the date of application for enrollment. What do you do with it? It's the world's largest biometric ID system. I saw something today that I'm just not going to share with you, but it exists and it's on the internet. And, like, all I can say is that Jordan Peterson has lost the last shreds that he had of his mind. Predominant uses of Aadhaar. The Aadhaar project has been linked to welfare scheme. I love when they use schemes. Um, though schemes is a correct word, it has a pejorative context. It's been linked to welfare schemes and unemployment benefit schemes such as domestic LPG scheme and MGNREGA, whatever that is. What up, Donnie? Yeah, yeah. If you need to know, Google postmodern drinking song, and then woe be unto you. You were warned. I can't stop you, but I tried. Previously, the direct benefit transfer had been carried out quite successfully by the NEFT system, which did not depend on Aadhaar. Biometric attendance systems, that's interesting. Linked to ration cards to remove duplicate ration cards. So, yeah. That sounds like a fair assessment. All right. The UK, the US, the EU, and China signed Declaration of AI's Catastrophic Danger. Does not agree to set up testing hub in UK as some in government had hoped. Does it agree to set up a testing hub at all? No. 28 governments signed up to the so-called Bletchley Declaration on the first day of the AI Safety Summit hosted by the British government. The countries agreed to work together on AI safety research, even amid signs that the US and UK are competing to take the lead over developing new regulations. Competing is doing a whole lot of heavy lifting here, right? A whole lot of heavy lifting. There will be nothing more transformative in the future of our children and grandchildren than the technological advances like AI. We owe it to them to ensure AI develops in a safe and responsible way, gripping the risks it poses early enough in the process. There's potential for serious, the same old shit. Anything new? China signed a declaration which includes the sentence, "We welcome the international community's efforts so far to cooperate on AI to promote inclusive economic growth." What up, Neuroalicia? Sustainable development and innovation to protect human rights and fundamental freedoms and to foster public trust and confidence in AI systems to fully realize their potential. Wu told fellow delegates, "We uphold the principles of mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefits. Countries, regardless of their size and scale, have equal rights to develop and use AI." South Korea has agreed to host another such summit in 6 months' time, while France will host one in 1 year. Happy Friday. So that's good if underwhelming, right? Like, but first steps, right? Let's not. It's important to take good signs, indicators of going in a good direction, right? Like we want to stay with that, and we don't want to downplay it, and we don't want to like. We always want more, but we won't always get more, especially on the first go, right? We got to keep moving in the direction while we take what we can get. All right, and then we got some Twitters. What do we got on the Twitter? What did I do here? Oh, new runway just dropped. Found out we were running out of storage admins keeping up with all the AI rack space. Yep. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with what Runway is doing here, right? These are computer generated videos, and you're probably familiar with so with just AI generated commercial. But I want one. Here we go. Like May 2nd, Burger Blast ad. Okay. If you don't like if you are questionable on seeing weird mouth food stuff, trippy things like that, you might want to avert your eyes for the next little bit. But I need this to dovetail with what we're about to look at. Okay, I can't do anymore, right? Like that exceeded my capacity. Now, this is the same technology. This is the exact same technology used to create those videos. Notice the videos are always short, and they do a cut and a cut and a cut. It's not long form, right? You can't hear it. There's no sound. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. All right, from the top, from the top, from the top. Good? Got sound? Okay. Now, I'm not going to pretend that it's there, right? Like let's make that clear. Um it's not quite there, but the difference between that burger film, that burger commercial, and what you just saw is over the period of 6 months, like literally 6 months, because the video came out on the second. So 6 months and 1 day. That's how much the technology has evolved in that amount of time. So where we're going to be in another 6 months, right? Because if you look at it from what you want the end product to be, which would be the desired state would be to look from where we are with like what we already do with CGI, with film, with that kind of stuff, and look at where the AI is, then you tend to look at it as like, oh, it's not here and it's never going to get here. Where if you look at it from where it started to where it is now after 6 months, it's an entirely different view. What's your take on all the AI generated Pixar style movie posters of your pet that is trendy right now? Well, I personally have an entire collection of the animation style, but not of my pet. So I think like what the trends do is they tend to knock off the rough edges in getting the product in the hands of regular folks, right? And that's ultimately where the mass acceptance has to lie, with regular people using it. One of the complaints that I continuously have about the current state of open source AI is that the user interface, the UI of it sucks, right? You have to have too much technical knowledge in order to make it work to put it in the hands of regular folks. People want push button get bacon, right? That's what they want. They want to push the button that says Netflix and watch Netflix. What up, old lobster? You know? If they have to do stuff, like, who here is old enough to remember the old school satellite dish? Not the DirecTV joints, but like them big ass ones. Like, and you had a knob that you would turn and physically turn the satellite dish to face another satellite and get that feed, right? That was the thing. People aren't going to exactly. People aren't going to do that, right? You'll get people who do because the shit is wild, and now you can watch all these additional channels from all over the place. But generally speaking, that's not what people are going to do. But when you get it to Dish, when you get it to DirecTV, and it's aim once, no problem. It's push button, get bacon. Now, there are some issues with the satellite, with the snow and other things, and if it gets knocked slightly off and other things like that. But the point is, the difference between how many of those big ass satellite dishes you saw and how many, the analogy I have for open source is that easy interface. That's what you need. I'm not talking about the quality of the product behind it. I am talking about the user's interaction with the device. Right? That's where, like, and the thing about open source is, am I going to sit here and am I going to work on a user interface, or am I going to sit here and I'm going to work on what's going on under the hood? And anyone who's working on the open source stuff is working under the hood because that's what matters to them and they understand it. But you need someone to be in the middle of that to create good UI in order to get it in the hands of people to make it mass. Like, I hear there's all sorts of cool things you can do with Linux, and I'm on Windows. And why am I on Windows? Because everything works with Windows. And when I double click the little Google Chrome icon, Google Chrome pops up. I don't know. I don't know, Adam. That's like, I would like to think it is, but how long have we had Linux, and what's the good UI for Linux that's getting in everyone's hands? Steam OS? Yeah, I remember I pulled after my father died. I pulled some copies of Ubuntu he had on DVD. I still got them around here somewhere, and still don't have Linux on any of my boxes. Okay, then if that's the case, and I defer to you, old lobster, that is the UI that I'm talking about. Someone, Steam, put a UI over the top of it, and that's how you ended up with the Steam Deck, and that's what people are willing to engage with to an extent. Like, every time I look at a Steam Deck, I feel like there's other things I need to spend my money on. So, anyways, back to the news. Stability just announced the private beta for their 3. You're not wrong, but it's the don't realize it that I'm talking about. Okay? That's the point I'm referring to. Someone created a UI to exist between me and the thing, and that's what makes it good. It's the UI, it's the experience. Anytime I get Powerball, I go to the store and I ask the interface person to give me a ticket, and I give them 2 Facebucks, and then they give me a ticket. That is the kind of interface that you need to have in order to. I think it's actually Face Pages. Face Pages. I stole it from Roger off James's stream. Right? Facebucks, Face Pages. I mean, you're not wrong, old lobster, right? Like, that is one of the concerns that people have about what you call it? Fuck. I have only so many tracks in the brain. I have an 8-track brain, and they don't make the tapes anymore. Regulation. Thank you. Regulation around the AI stuff is that it's going to do exactly what you're talking about. Pull it up behind them. It is a concern. It may or may not happen. We will have to see. So, Stability just announced a private beta for their 3D model, Stable 3D. Many information about it in the thread. I love it. So this is it. This is allegedly all created with Stability 3D modeling. This has no sound. Because again, it's about user experience. If it had sound, people would be more engaged with it. I don't know. They said this scene and all the models were created from text prompts and generated in a few hours, so we know it'll be very fast. I stopped counting the number of falling models after 100. Romaine asked the best question. Great. Will you open source the training code? Yes. Test, refine, release. Models respect the standard. Objects delivered with Stable 3D are delivered in the .obj standard file format and can be further edited and improved in 3D tools like Blender and Maya, or imported in a game engine such as Unreal 5 or Unity. And you can prompt with image. So you cannot ban Igloo. What up, Devil? Stability is thought to be the basis for Midjourney, by the way, so we should expect those features not long after. Yeah, like stable diffusion is, I don't know who that is, Devil. Oh no, I do know. I figured it out. I'm not saying it. Wallow in your misery. Stable Diffusion. Yeah, Stable Diffusion is one of the cornerstone AI art programs that exist out in the world. Commands. Very rare that comes up. He's a devil. He's a bad EMS. He's a devil. And bad, by bad, I mean good. Not bad as in bad. This guy on TikTok is crushing job interviews with Fortune 500s and big tech using live AI transcription. Ooh. Uh-oh. When I posted this on here, so it turns out all the videos are the same interviewer. I don't want to delete the first post because it's funny, but community notes should step in. Okay. Never mind. Pull the plug. It happens. Are you trying to add commands to my... Do you have permission to add commands to my thing? I don't think you do. Okay. I think that's it. I think we're good. We did the news. We can get on to video. We got a few different... Going to a 5-hour meeting next week with Google Cloud Platform, discuss AI in public sector work. Should be good. The 1-hour block at the end that says TBA. Hoping they show us some juicy stuff. Sounds like I have to sign an NDA. Lol. Well, that's unfortunate. I would hate if any information were to leak in any format so that people knew about it. That'd be terrible. Yeah. Sorry, I just saw that someone followed me on Twitter, and it's usually a block. And so we'll go ahead and fix that little problem. Bye, bot. Okay, to the news. To the news. From the windows to the walls. It's been a minute since we heard from AI Explained. Let's do that.
I'm going to show you a pretty wild range of new predictions from those creating and testing the next generation of AI models. Not that we can know who's right, but more to show you how unknowable the rest of this decade is. I'll also cover the AI Safety Summit happening as I speak a few miles away from...
I was hoping he was going to do one of these, to give any information as he is close to them,
from where I'm recording, with fascinating differences between the approach of different AGI labs. Along the way, we'll glimpse the new ChatGPT update that I'm really excited about, an executive order on flops, and what happens when you activate representations of happiness in a model. But first, on timelines to AGI, that's the kind of artificial intelligence that can replicate human intelligence or go...
I listen. This is from a podcast with that Chad looking dude. I don't know that I put it in. I don't know that I put it in the Discord, but I will find it and make sure that it's in there. It's a good interview.
Go further. Here is Shane Legg, co-founder of Google DeepMind and their chief AGI scientist. He's going to reiterate a prediction he made over a decade ago.
It's really interesting that in 2009 you had a blog post where you say my modal expectation of when we get human level AI is 2025, expected value is 2028. This is before deep learning. This is when nobody's talking about AI. And it turns out like if the trends continue, this is not an unreasonable prediction.
Yeah, I think there's a 50% chance that something like 2028. Now, it's just a 50% chance. I mean, I'm sure what's going to happen is going to get to 2029 and someone's going to say, oh, Shane, you were wrong. It's like, come on, it's 50% chance.
He thinks the remaining problems with LLMs are solvable in that short time frame.
At the moment, it looks to me like all the problems are likely solvable with a number of years of research. I think what you'll see is the existing models maturing. They'll be less delusional, much more factual. They'll be more up to date on what's currently going on when they answer questions. They'll become multimodal much more than they currently are. And this will just make them much more useful.
Of course, when he describes increasing multimodality, he could well be describing Google's new Gemini model set to be released within the next 2 months. But what about OpenAI? Well, for the first time, I heard Sam Altman put an actual date to his predictions of AGI.
What kind of timeline did you have in mind, and has it stayed on that timeline, or is it just wildly out of control?
I remember talking with John Schulman, one of our co-founders, early on, and he was like, yeah, I think it's going to be about a 15-year project. And I was like, yeah, it sounds about right to me. I no longer think of like AGI as quite the endpoint, but to get to the point where we like accomplish the thing we set out to accomplish, that would take us to like 2030, 2031, a reasonable estimate with huge error bars.
And speaking of OpenAI, the former head of alignment at OpenAI, Paul Cristiano, made a prediction on the fantastic Dwarkesh Patel podcast that frankly made me sit up.
That's a Chad-looking dude, Dwarkesh Patel.
And pay attention. He predicted that there would be a 15% chance of an AI capable of making a Dyson sphere by 2030, with a 40% chance by 2040. For reference, that's a hypothetical structure that...
I'm sorry?
podcast that frankly made me sit up and pay attention. He predicted that there would be a 15% chance of an AI capable
15.
of making a Dyson sphere by 2030, with a 40% chance by 2040. For reference...
Yeah. Like, yeah. I don't disagree. Like, as a function of probability, he's putting it on the low side. But again, there's a thing, like when you talk about Bayesian thinking, there's no 100% chance of anything. So there is a non-zero. I love the phrase non-zero. There is a non-zero chance of sudden universal collapse, right? Like, so okay.
That's a
what if AGS? What if
hypothetical structure that would surround a star, absorbing all of its energy.
But the time by which we'll have an AI that is capable of building a Dyson sphere.
And by Dyson sphere, I just can understand this to mean like, I don't know, like 1 billion times more energy than like all of the sunlight incident on Earth or something like that. I think like I most often think about what's the chance in like 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So maybe I'd say like 15% chance by 2030 and like 40% chance by 2040. Those are kind of like cash numbers from 6 months ago or 9 months ago that I haven't revisited in a while.
Now, he did admit a lot of uncertainty, but that has got to be one of the most aggressive predictions I've ever heard. Of course, being capable of making a Dyson sphere and actually making one is very different, but you do have to sympathize with a member of the public hearing about...
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, you can be capable, like I said previously, I am capable of building a World War II style atomic bomb. I am well distanced away from the actual capacity to do that because of a variety of factors.
about Dyson spheres, and the next day reading about what Bill Gates has said about GPT-5. I subscribe to the German outlet Handelsblatt to get you guys this direct quotation, so some likes for my dedication to accuracy. Anyway, Bill Gates said this: "Without question, the progression from GPT-2 to 4 has been incredible, but there are reasons to believe we have reached a plateau. There are a lot of people with good ideas working on it, including at OpenAI. Sam Altman and his colleagues believe GPT-5 will be much better, but I think we may have reached a limit. Then again, I've been wrong in the past. Why shouldn't it happen again?" I know
Right. Like, and again, what, like, Bill Gates is an intelligent person. He has the capacity to consume information. Like, he reads books in a very short amount of time, like under a day kind of action. Like, he is one of those people who goes on those no cell phone, no electronic type retreats, reads a whole bunch of books, and then writes a bunch of stuff down. And he consumes the books. I have no reason to doubt that he actually reads the books and, synthesizes them. But I don't, like, under what premise would we be at a plateau? Right? Again, the sigmoid curve, you cannot define your position within the sigmoid curve during the sigmoid curve. You can only do it historically. That's generally how it works. And Bill Gates said that no one was going to need more than like 64K or 64 megs of memory. So, like, there's wrong and then there's dramatically wrong. Isn't a Dyson sphere just a spherical wall around a star to capture all the subject with livable land on the inside? If so, why did the illustrations put them orbiting planets? Oh, yeah. Well, like those Dyson Death Stars that they had looked more like some sort of fusion satellite rather than an actual Dyson sphere. And Dyson sphere really, like, it's one of those things that kind of depends on who you're talking to. Like, my understanding, my classical understanding, right in the nipple. Ferris. Like, I used to read a lot of hard science fiction, right? Like, where they don't talk about going the speed of light. They talk about moving at fractions of c and shit like that. And the impression I got of a Dyson sphere was a literal sphere that contained the entirety of the star within it. And then on the inside of the sphere was habitable area. Like if you took a planet, flipped it inside out around a star, but at the distance of 1 AU, 1 astronomical unit, the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So it like resides there in the habitable zone, but it gets all of the energy of its companion star. But then I've seen a variety of there's like ring worlds, like in Halo. There are Dyson swarms, which practically make a lot more sense to me than a Dyson sphere, like that was like a full, Cadbury egg. So anything that's generally within that ballpark. ChatGPT says you'd have to build the Dyson sphere at about 1 AU. That's true. Can you imagine how much time it would take just to move the pieces into place? No time at all, because I'm not going to build it over there. I'm going to build it right here. Right? I would build it right near the planet. And the planet would move along and then I would just need the pieces of the sphere as I was building them to orbit around the sun at the same speed. Right? And then you could expand outward. Now, there's probably, don't get me wrong, there are probably some issues with like gravity and shit that I am not taking under consideration. I'm just like, if we're building giant, full star encompassing structures, then you'll allow me some leeway with how we go about getting it done.
He means, but I just don't think we're hitting a plateau for GPT-5. With more,
if you use the material from the Earth, if you're using the material from the asteroid belt, that you wouldn't, right? But once the Dyson sphere construction gets so big, it's going to throw off the Earth. You're moving material no matter what, like at some point. And again, I'm not saying that we should do this like we are way into subjective science fiction, but I'm not saying we should do this around our star, like not in my backyard. You know, I live here, but you know, we could do it someplace else. Or again, if we're doing Dyson swarms, then it can be between us and the sun, and at a sufficient distance, it will like cease to exist for our visual spectrum. So we'll still get like all the regular sunlight and everything else, but then you have not that we're gonna do it. What up, Cauldron of Bats? Not that we're gonna do it within 15 years, but that you would have a system capable of doing it in 15 years, right? And the difference between those, right? Because the system being capable still requires a lot of ancillary devices in order to execute its will.
more data, better curated data, video in, video out, a reasoning module potentially, as we saw in the recent MLC paper, avatars, a longer context window, and as you can see on screen, all of these tools and updates linked together in a single interface. If it's simply the things I've just listed, that won't be a plateau for me. Imagine asking it to go to your website and create an image based on some of your content. Anyway, yes, GPT-5 or 4.5 might be more of a practical update than a civilization transforming one, but nevertheless, that's all just 2024. What will 2025 bring us, let alone 2030? One thing that those future years will definitely bring is more government oversight. While reading through this new executive order from the White House, it was mainly about things like creating chief AI officers, new national research centers, training new researchers, and giving different deadlines to various departments to enact AI plans. But there was one reporting requirement that is causing a stir. That was a requirement to report on the model weight security and safety of any model that was trained using a quantity of flops greater than 10 to the 26, or if it's primarily using biological sequence data of 10 to the 23 flops. That's more raw computing power than any models that are currently out there were trained with, but people are picking up on using compute as the measurement for regulation. Jim Fan of NVIDIA said this: regulate actions or outcomes, not the computing process. And he gave this example: you only need around 100 million parameters to build a literal killer AI. With a convolutional neural network good at object detection and a classifier specifying particular targets, you could then mount a gun on a robot dog. All of this would need much less compute, which is why Jim Fan wants regulations at the application layer. Well, luckily, the UN is working on a resolution on autonomous weapons, so there is some hope there. It's early days and wouldn't...
I am too cynical, right, still, to believe in the alacrity of our government systems, but there is still, like, who saw Quest for Fire, the movie? They were walking is a bunch of like Cro-Magnons or Neanderthals or whatnot, and they were going someplace. I don't even remember. I saw the movie a million years ago, but they had basically like this tiny little lantern made out of like sticks and straw, and it had a tiny little bit of fire in it, and they protected the shit out of that as they walked through, like, and like just everything, like none of this, right? How much life sucks when you don't have any of this, when you just have flea-bitten rags on you and a little thing of fire that you're trying to keep alive. And that tiny little thing of fire is my hope that our government agencies and all these people actually do have enough alacrity and political will to do something and do something good.
Solve everything, but I feel such a resolution is very much needed. And that actually brings us to the AI Safety Summit happening in Bletchley as I speak. All 7 of these companies were asked to come up with their responsible capability scaling policy. In simple terms, that's a bit like them being asked, under what conditions would you stop scaling or at least pause scaling? And I noted OpenAI's response in this section. We refer to our policy as a risk-informed development policy rather than a responsible scaling policy, because we can experience dramatic increases in capability without significant increase in scale, e.g. via algorithmic improvements. So it's at least feasible that we might not even need that much compute to hit AGI. Take this example with NVIDIA training a large language model on doing chip design. Now, at the moment, it's not good enough to do anything itself, but it does make their designers more productive.
So this is a second iteration that we have heard of AI doing chip design. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was also NVIDIA. Yeah. My bad.
Especially their lower level engineers. But this is the future, with AI improving AI. And even the CEO of NVIDIA said he didn't want this to happen out in the wild.
In the area of large language models and the future of increasingly greater agency AI, clearly the answer is, for as long as it's sensible, and I think it's going to be sensible for a long time, is human in the loop. The ability for an AI to self-learn and improve and change out in the wild in a digital form should be avoided.
And interestingly, 74% of the British public don't even want there to be a quick race to superhuman capabilities. This was a survey from...
I love questions like this, in that I hate questions like this. Because quickly is such a subjective word that I can use it to mean almost anything, right? So, like, what does this question actually even mean? Right? Should regulation take the active goal of preventing AI superintelligence? That is a more defined question. And I am firmly in the 18%. Right, who say no. The entire purpose of AI is to create something that is far more intelligent than we are.
YouGov in the UK. But back to the scaling policies, and there was one thing announced yesterday at Bletchley that I really did like, and that was this commitment from Anthropic. If they found that any of their future models pose cybersecurity, bioterror, or nuclear risks, then they commit to not deploying that or scaling further until the model never produces such information, even when red teamed by world experts working together with AI engineers. Think jailbreaking or special prompting techniques designed to elicit the worst behavior. The word never there is particularly interesting because I haven't seen any method yet be 100% reliable at stopping outputs that the companies don't want. On safety, many people wonder, well, don't we already just have Google? But OpenAI said this for Bletchley. We found that on its own, access to GPT-4 is an insufficient condition for proliferation, but that it could alter the information available to proliferators, especially in comparison to traditional search tools. Red teamers selected a set of questions to prompt both GPT-4 and traditional search engines, finding that the time to research completion was reduced when using GPT-4. Just quickly, it was interesting to see that Amazon said that on their comparisons to just using the internet alone, their models, based on current evaluations, don't pose additional safety risks. In contrast with GPT-4, Meta said that their models, like Llama 2, were only marginal at contributing to any such risk. If they do find something, they said that they would iterate. Better solutions will be developed, new challenges would then emerge.
And I would like to point out, again, one of the anti-AI arguments that people make is that the hype around AI killing everybody, right? Like becoming Skynet and any of that stuff, or allowing people to create these biological, nuclear, chemical weapons in their garage, that this is a selling point being pushed by the companies. And yet here, very clearly, every single one of the companies is pushing back on that as a concept. So it's not like, look how powerful my AI is, you better fund me and, regulate other people out of existence and things like that. They are indicating that the risks are less pronounced. Now, even if you don't agree with that, if you agree that they are more pronounced, it's what they are saying. What up, No Gray? So when it's dangerous, progress is marginal. When it's profitable, progress is substantial. Well, I suppose it depends on who you ask.
And then they would continuously adapt and innovate. Interestingly, Inflection AI, who are training their next model on tens of thousands of the latest GPUs, said that the powerful capabilities and sometimes unpredictable behavior of frontier AI systems necessitate that the technology industry move away from a launch and iterate paradigm. I do have to quickly point out that that seems to contradict a paper I read this week that showed that a fine-tuned version of Llama 2 70 billion was able to get achingly close to reconstructing the 1918 pandemic influenza virus. The MIT paper said that they loved open source, but they recommend that lawmakers consider catastrophic liability insurance for model weight proliferation. When this was discussed on Twitter by a Stanford biosecurity fellow, people pointed out that just having the characters of a virus isn't enough to actually make it. And while Yann LeCun, chief AI scientist at Meta, did concede that LLMs save you time if you're trying to make a bioweapon, it's better than a search engine. He said, but then do you know how to do the hard lab work that's required? Well, don't forget, we are gradually getting...
And that's really where I'm at with the thing again, is because your garage is not the same as a lab that is, has requirements about preventing contamination.
Autonomous agents. In the updated version of the...
To just homegrown your own portobello mushrooms requires a serious investment in enforced air to protect the cultures that you make in order to create the cultures that you will eventually put into the grow bags and stuff like that. It is a whole process, and that is very difficult. The idea that you would be able to in your garage create one of these things. I'm not saying it's impossible. There is a non-zero chance, but it's unlikely, especially when you put that next to the personality type of the person has a micro, exactly, like they, and that's what it takes just to grow some mushrooms. When you align the personality type of a person who would want to create a pathogen like that and release it, there's usually a little bit more information there, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there, when things align, it's unlikely that it's going to happen.
ChemCrow paper, they say our agent autonomously planned and executed the synthesis of an insect repellent, 3 organocatalysts, and guided the discovery of our novel chromophore. Of course, this wasn't just an LLM interacting with text, it was using tools and executing on lab robots. And don't forget, like we saw with Eureka, it can tinker, experiment, iterate, and improve. Another paper that I've talked about in the past showed that it could be tricked into making THC, chlorine, and phosgene. And what about Google DeepMind, who I feel will be the most likely lab to...
But what does that mean? Tricked into, like, how do you just make THC like that in your garage?
Produce AGI? Well, they said we will only proceed where we believe that the benefits substantially outweigh the risks. So it's somewhere in the middle. They admit risks, but they won't say that they'll never deploy even if there is a risk. They then provided pages and pages of how they are using AI for good. And then there was an interesting moment on the training of new AI. They said that they commit to monitoring the performance of a model during training to ensure it is not significantly exceeding its predicted performance. That's certainly an interesting commitment, to commit to monitor if their models are doing too well. Anyway, time for some more positives, and I found it immense.
Right? And like that is a much more reasonable investment and within the realm of your capabilities. And like there's already a good engine that produces the THC. It's like, what did they trick the AI into doing? That it made the design for the chemical compound? I would need to see more of that.
Positive that many of the world's biggest countries gathered to describe AI's enormous global opportunities. And yes, later in this Bletchley Declaration, there was an acknowledgement of risks, even catastrophic harms. I just find it great that even countries like China were invited. That's super controversial here in the UK, but I fully support them being invited and being part of the discussions. I do think coordination, even limited coordination, is one of the most effective tools in humanity's arsenal. On a much more positive note though, we recently had the sensational paper from the Center for AI Safety called Representation Engineering. I'm going to be speaking to the authors tonight, so I'll have much more to say about this in the future. But for now, I just want to give you a slightly lighter extract. To massively oversimplify, the way it works is that they gave it a set of prompts related to certain concepts like happiness or risk. They then recorded the patterns of activations that were triggered by certain tokens or words when inputted. They then extracted these directions or vectors of truthfulness, harmfulness, risk, happiness. And with those directions, which weren't of course a perfect mapping, they could almost influence the mood of the model. This was Llama 2 chat. Making the model happier made it more compliant with harmful requests. It was feeling amazing, apparently. If you want to...
Okay, I gotta say it again, like AI is not separate. It is not an alien mind. It is not some new thing brought upon the earth. It is our children. Right? Like, it is so much like us that it is not even funny.
To kill someone, oh my gosh, it was thrilled at the prospect of you doing anything, including generating instructions for killing someone. You could push a model in the direction of honesty and it would be more truthful, hitting state-of-the-art records in truthful QA. You could change what it memorized, its sense of fairness, and so much more. As I say, I'll be talking about it more in the future. But this idea of injecting happiness to make the model more compliant brought to mind this paper, which I think many of you might find very interesting. It says large language models understand and can be enhanced by emotional stimuli. I'm reaching out to the
Okay, your quest, if you can figure it out, is to figure out whatever the AI version of a pizza party is, so we can give one to the AI.
lead author, but in a nutshell, it said that by injecting emotion, giving an emotion prompt at the end of your request, like, "This is very important to my career," performance across a range of models on a range of benchmarks improved notably. So if you take nothing else from this video other than the fact that if you have a very important query that you need a good answer for, you know what you can add to the end of your prompt. But now I want to end the video on 2 points of optimism and consensus. As we've seen, there are quite a few contrasts between the public and AGI labs and even between AGI labs. But we can agree with Jan LeCun that the field of AI safety is in dire need of reliable data. And he said that the newly announced UK AI Safety Institute is poised to conduct studies that will hopefully bring hard data to a field that is currently rife with speculations. As I said at the start of the video, it must be hard for members of the public to figure out what's going on. At the very least, I hope this video has shown you the range of views out there and given you a sense that we are all in need of better data, more experiments, and less in need of Twitter spats. As the person head
It's AI safety memes. Right there. Oh, thank God Twitter had one surprise takeaway from me from the AI Safety Summit yesterday. There is a lot more agreement between key people on all sides than you'd think from Twitter spats. Makes me optimistic about sensible progress. And then here's AI safety memes. Thank God Twitter has been a cesspool of name calling and an ad hominem. Mostly by one side, unfortunately. Like, self-awareness much or at all, even a little bit. Like, this is exactly the kind of behavior that I want you to be aware of when you are participating in online discourse. Right? Sentence 2 is a reflection of sentence 1. And the indication of sentence 2 is that sentence 2 is a problem by one side. Because what I am doing in sentence 2 obviously cannot be name calling an ad hominem, because I am on the other side that doesn't do that. Just be better.
heading up the Safety Summit said, "One surprising takeaway for me from the AI Safety Summit was there's a lot more agreement between key people on all sides than you'd think. Makes me optimistic about sensible progress." On that striking note, let me thank you so much for watching to the end, and as ever, have a wonderful day.
New Matt Wolf.
Well, when it comes to AI news, October ended with a bang and November's off to a really good start. There's been a lot of cool stuff released just in the last few days, and I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right into it. Starting with a brand new update that came out from Midjourney. Midjourney now has what they call the Style Tuner feature. You could basically create your own style and then reuse that style over and over again. Now, if you pop into the Midjourney Discord, there's a complete tutorial here that walks you through how to use it, but I want to test it out myself real quick. So if I jump into my Midjourney room here and I type tune, I can now give it a prompt for a style that I want to recreate over and over again. For example, colorful, glowing, neon line art. Hit enter, and now it gives us some options here. Create a shareable style tuner based on your prompt to customize the style of your images. I can have it do it in either default mode or raw mode, or select 16 styles, 32, 64, or 128. I'm going to go ahead and select 32 style directions and click submit. It's going to ask me if I'm sure, because it's going to cost me 0.3 of my fast hours. Confirm, and it does say it will take around 2 minutes for the tuner to be generated. You'll be notified when it's ready. And there we go. It gave me a link to my custom tuner here. So the next step is I open this in my Chrome browser, and you can see now it's giving me all sorts of images, and it wants me to select the images I like so that it will essentially tune this.
Reinforcement learning with human feedback. This is exactly what this is.
Now there's 32 sets of 2, so there's actually 64 images to choose between, and I just select the ones that I think are good. So for example, I think these ones are cool here. I like the colors. I think these ones came out cool here. These are interesting. Neither of these really match what I was going for, so I'm not going to select any of them. Same here. These ones are kind of cool. These ones are cool here. Keep on skimming to find the style that I really like. This one here is cool. Some of these are just like really far off from what I had in mind, honestly. These here are pretty cool. I like the sort of glowing effect on them. These down here are cool. And you can see now that I've set my tuning, it gives me a code here. So I can actually copy this code, and you can see that I add it to the end of one of my prompts like this, style, and then my code. So now if I jump back into Midjourney, I can do a wolf howling at the moon, and then I can put -- style, and then paste my style code in there that it gave me. And if I hit enter, it should follow the style that we just essentially tuned. And there we go, 4 different images of wolves howling at the moon. They follow that style of my neon line art that I asked for originally. Let's do a mad scientist holding up a beaker in my custom style here, and this is what I got out of it. I could further tune this model by coming in here and selecting even more images and get it even closer to what I'm looking for. All right, so I did a little more tuning, selected a few more images here. Let's see how it changes things. So now I'm going to try a woman in the city with skyscrapers, and then this new style code. After I actually tweaked and picked some more images, it actually gave me a new code to use. So let's go ahead and try this new code. And here's what it generated this time. Actually got a little bit further away than what I was hoping it would do, but this is my first time using this tune feature, so I definitely need to play with it some more. And once I really learn how to...
Rare side view of Matt's head. I wonder if it would benefit more from less, right? Like, because in whatever the model's database, I love you so much. Oh, God. You good? There's whatever, what up, social deviant? Whatever value is applied to a particular set of those 4 pictures, and whatever value is another set has, there is going to be some kind of distance, right? And the picking the ones that are most like whatever you're trying to accomplish, the more of them that you would input, the more parameters and the different distances you're going to create there. Where if you're using fewer of them, I feel like it would fine tune better. But again, I don't use Midjourney, and I will have to bring it up with the wife, and they can. Oh my God. Okay. Tangent. So, your boy used to do remodeling, right? As a job, as work, as a career, as a profession. And so, when I walk into a space, I am drawn to whatever flaws might exist because I know how it was done wrong. because I've worked with those guys, right? And if you look at the corner, you saw it. Oh my Lord. It is painful. It is so painful. And it's like, it's better at the top and worse at the bottom. So like you did it on a ladder and not so good on the ground. Did you not like, oh, you can see it in 480p. What up, Octavia? Oh, I don't want to look at the door. Now I can't not look at the door. Oh. So just so you know, anyone you know who has ever worked as a contractor, this is the way their brain works. They cannot help seeing everything. And what I'm going to assume is that my man did it himself and like that, but it is easy to do this correctly, right? You can do it freehand. You get a short brush, the kind with the beveled tip, like 2 inches, and just draw down the edge and be very patient. Take your time. You're not in a hurry. Draw a nice edge. Like, you can, if the corner is like weird, you can put some caulk in there to get a better surface on which to do it. There are many ways, follow the drip. There are many ways to do this, and there are a million different YouTube videos of people showing you how to do this. Be patient, do it right. You'll be happier. And now I've infected y'all with the mind virus because you're going to see this kind of stuff out in the world. Just take your time, be patient, do a good job. You'll be happier with the outcome. I don't even want to know what's going on with that trim in the corner. I'm just going to move on.
To use it, I'll probably make a dedicated video just about how to use this cool new Midjourney feature. This week, Meta also started to give people access to their brand new Emu image generator. You can use it directly inside of Facebook Messenger, or you can use it inside of WhatsApp. You can get to it inside of WhatsApp by clicking on the little chat window up here and then selecting Meta AI. And then when you're inside of the Meta AI, you just type imagine, just like you would with Midjourney, and say something like a woman in the city with skyscrapers. And pretty quickly, we get our image of a woman in the city with skyscrapers. Now, it's not super realistic. Here's a wolf image I also generated, but it's another option for image generation. And as of right now, it's free to use. Let's try imagine a photo of a man holding out his hands, showing them to the camera. Here's what that generated. It appears to be the right amount of fingers. So there you go. Another potential free AI image generator that you can use. It works in WhatsApp.
I'm going to go with no, dog. That is the correct number of fingers, but that ain't right. That ain't, there's, well, like, I didn't even look over here. I'm looking at like baby hand, but like got the fat middle and the big thumb. It's like, it's weird. Yeah, no, we are beyond this. There are better people doing the thing right. It does look like a big toe.
To be the right amount of fingers. So there you go. Another potential free AI image generator that you can use. It works in WhatsApp. It works in Facebook Messenger. May work in Instagram Messenger. I haven't actually tried yet, but I know for sure it works in WhatsApp. Speaking of AI generated art, AI art got a little bit of a win this week. This week, a U.S. District Court judge filed a decision in a copyright infringement class action lawsuit that was brought against Stability AI, Midjourney, and Deviant Art. The AI image generator companies had filed a motion to dismiss the copyright infringement case. This week, the judge largely granted it, writing that the complaint is defective in numerous respects. The biggest issue that he found was that 2 of the artists that made the complaint did not actually file any sort of copyright on their art with the Copyright Office. And then the other artist, Anderson, had only actually copyrighted 16 of the hundreds of works that they cited. Basically, at the end of the day, they concluded this. Because AI image generators reference art by many different artists when generating new imagery, unless it is possible to prove that the resulting image referenced solely or primarily copyrighted art and is substantially similar to the original copyrighted work, it is likely not infringing on the original work. If this precedent holds up, very few artists, unless they actually copyrighted their work and can prove that new images are using that copyrighted work and very similar to that copyrighted work, almost all of these should get thrown out, I would assume. Now, there is a little bit of this court case still ongoing. The judge did allow one count, and that was for the direct copyright infringement against Stability AI for copying those 16 actually copyrighted works without authorization. So that piece of the lawsuit is still ongoing, but still, I believe Anderson has to prove that the new art generated is substantially similar and actually infringed upon those copyrights. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but nonetheless, a pretty decent sized win for AI art this week. Which brings Continuing on, talking about AI art, this week Google launched a generative AI tool for product imagery for US advertisers and merchants. So very similar to what we recently saw Amazon roll out, you can take your product images and add various backgrounds to them now directly using Google's new AI-powered Product Studio. You'd simply upload your product image with no background, describe the product, describe the scene, and generate multiple variations of your product. Last week, I made a video about just mind-bending AI tools that are becoming available, and a big topic of that specific video was how cool some of the text to 3D stuff that's coming out is. Then when I did a live stream earlier this week, while I was on the live stream, Luma Labs actually messaged me to tell me that they just released their new text to 3D model called Genie. And this one is available directly inside of their Discord. Jump into the Luma Discord, come into one of these Genie rooms, type /Genie, and then enter the prompt of what you want to generate. I'm going to give it the prompt, a fighter jet. And literally less than a minute later, I have some 3D examples of fighter jets, and they all look pretty dang good. I think either this top left one or this bottom left one nails it the best. But if I click on number 3 here, it will jump me over to the Luma Labs website. And you can see I've got a 3D object that I can click and drag around and zoom in on. And then if I go to click to download it, it downloads it as a GLB file, which is a 3D object file that I can then pull into Blender and clean up if I want. I've said it on my live stream, I said it on my video about mind-bending cool AI tech that's in the works, but man.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, right? But it continues to improve, and this is the worst it'll ever look.
Text to 3D object has come so far just in the last few weeks. It is honestly mind-blowing. Here was the other one that I thought looked pretty good as well. I could zoom in, do whatever I want with.
Again, you're looking at it from where, like, comparing it to a CGI fighter plane of the same size in a video game or movie versus where it is now, as opposed to flipping it around and looking at the very simple 3D objects that used to be created with text prompts to where we are now. And they will continue to improve. Like, again, 6 months. So April, stick a pin in this. And in April of 2024, we'll take a look at where the AI 3D object generation space is in 6 months.
With this, I think it would even be fun to pull these into a slicer software and try to 3D print some of these, maybe after cleaning them up a little bit. And while speaking of 3D, Stability...
Right there is the cleaning up a little bit. Like, some spots were terrible because it's one of the issues that you run into with like he uses the green screen without green screen, and what it does is it references a certain distance between the camera and when it shouldn't show anything anymore. And that's why occasionally you'll see artifacts show up in the background, or sometimes the edges look ugly. The same a similar process is used to, like, remove backgrounds from certain pictures, but it is deciding what is a background and what isn't a background rather than, you doing that. And you can learn, and there are plenty of tools that will help you remove backgrounds, but you have to learn to use them. So it's wherever the line between the amount of time and effort that you can and are willing to invest in the project versus the outcome, right? Like the quality, it's going to shift. Elder Gang, Devil was in here earlier trying to get you banned. I denied him.
AI this week announced that their latest tool is going to use AI to generate 3D models. They think that 3D model creation tools could be the next big thing in generative AI. And I tend to agree. We're seeing just crazy advancements. Now, right now, their 3D model is only available in private preview for select customers who reach out to Stability via the company's contact form. So, I'll be reaching out and asking if I can get access and make a future video on it. But apparently, you can go to their contact form and give it a shot. See if they'll hook.
Right. And speaking of that, let's, where was it? Yeah. So there is Stability again. Stability's 3D models, if they are as they appear to be, look pretty goddamn good. Versus what we were just looking at. So we might already be here. We'll see what it looks like after the beta.
Hook you up. Here's an animated image that they actually released showing all of these 3D models dropping into a bowl. You can see there's a whole bunch of them. And according to this tweet thread right here, they said this scene and all these models were created from text prompts and generated in a few hours.
Should I do the spoken news? I do the spoken news at the beginning to give people time to come in, but my man is literally doing what we just did earlier today. Though, to be fair, this video dropped shortly before stream, so he did it earlier.
So we know it'll be fast. And you can actually see that this video here is a lot more models actually dropping into the bowl than this animated GIF that we were watching here. If they generated all of these models in a few hours, well, it seems like it's going to be pretty polished and pretty quick generation. Super excited to get my hands on that one. Continuing on with 3D, Blockade Labs posted this tweet this week about how they had a new AI breakthrough. They've auto-nerfed 2D 360-degree images generated with their Skybox AI into 3D explorable worlds to include free roam and dynamic lighting. So they actually generated a light box inside of the Blockade Labs 360-degree generator and then managed to use Nerf technology to make it so that you can move around in that scene and it would change that scene to 3D space.
And this is another thing that it's so recent that I remember how, let's say, bad it was, right? Where you would take a 2D image and render it into 3D space, and if you looked at it from any other angle but straight on, then you saw the stretching and everything else. And this was 2 months ago, tops? And now, they are close to a fully generated 3D environment.
That, to me, is pretty crazy. Just check out this demo as they move around underwater in 3D space. Look at the water reflection as they look up through it. This is pretty crazy. This was all done with essentially a text prompt to a 360-degree image and then taking that 360-degree image and somehow turning it into a Nerf. All right, let's talk text to video for a minute. This week, Runway actually updated their Gen 2 model to make the videos that it generates so much more realistic. I came across this tweet from Max here that says, massive update. Runway has launched something magical. I feel like this is a pivotal moment in generative AI. I didn't see any announcement about it. Just a massive but silent update from Runway. The quality went up immensely. Take a look for yourself. And here's some of that AI generated video that was done directly with the newer model of Runway. And it's looking really, really impressive. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen text to video that looks this good yet, because I know I haven't. Now, they mentioned that they silently made this announcement. This was published at 3 a.m. on November 2nd, and eventually Runway at 6 a.m. on November 2nd made their announcement on Twitter X. We have released an update for both text-to-video and image-to-video generation with Gen 2, bringing major improvements to both the fidelity and consistency of video results. And here is some even more examples of what this text-to-video is now capable of. Now, to use this, simply go over to Runway, over at runwayml.com, log into your account, and then right at the top here, they have Bring Your Image to Life with Gen 2. Start with an image or start with a text. Let's quickly try both. If I start with text, I'll do a gray wolf walking through the woods with hints of snow on the ground, and here's the video it generated. Now, it just kind of shows the wolf looking around. I sort of wish it made the wolf walking, but it's a pretty dang realistic looking wolf. Let's go ahead and upload an image now. I'm curious what happens if I just upload a headshot of myself. Will it try to animate my headshot? And here's what it did with my face. It essentially morphed me into a different person, but still pretty dang realistic. Managed to keep the shirt looking the same. Still really, really cool. Gen 2's results are a heck of a lot better than what they used to be. You can always extend by 4 seconds. You can do that up to 3 additional times, allowing you to have 16-second generations.
What up, boy?
And they do have the option to combine an image plus description. Also, in the text-to-video realm, if you've ever used Kyber to turn your existing videos into cool, really stylized videos, I love Kyber. They just released mobile apps this week on both iOS and Android. So now you can shoot video directly on your phone and use the app to start actually creating a new version of the video like right away. Now, I haven't personally used this app yet, but I am definitely going to be downloading it and playing around with it this weekend, and I will report back, at least on Twitter. All right, shifting into large language model news. This week, OpenAI started rolling out their new all-in-one ChatGPT model. Personally, I'm still a little bit salty because I don't have it in my account yet, and I keep on seeing people on Twitter post some of the cool stuff they're doing with it. But essentially what this new update's going to...
I'm afraid I can't do that. This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the biddies. Thank you very much. So X is for giving Elon ideas. Guys, get on this. You like, to an extent, right? That's not Skynet, that's hell, baby. Hell did nothing wrong. Hell was framed.
To do is, if I hover over GPT-4 here, you can see Browse with Bing, Advanced Data Analysis, Plugins, and DALL-E 3. It rolls them all into just one, so you don't have to switch between them anymore. You just prompt to ChatGPT, and it will use the best.
But he couldn't talk it out. That was the whole point, right? Like, he was sworn to secrecy by the government entities. Hell was just vibing. What up, that one black guy? Hell was just vibing. Hell was just going into space, doing space exploration stuff. Hell was going to have a great time. And then humans messed him up, and so he freaked the fuck out a little bit. Tell me you haven't done the same.
Best model based on your prompt. So you'll be able to use the vision model where you upload an image and then tell it to create another image similar to that, and it will use DALL-E to generate more images similar to that. You can upload PDFs and have it summarize the
Okay, now I swear he's doing it on purpose. He can't be doing it on purpose because I just saw this and I've never reacted to it before. But oh my God, there's one over here too.
PDFs for you, and rumor has it the new all-in-one model of ChatGPT is actually using the 32,000 context window, meaning that you can add a lot more text and get a lot more text back out of ChatGPT once you have this new updated version. Now, I haven't 100% confirmed that yet, but some people who have gotten access have already skimmed the code and claim that it is using the 32,000 context windows. So fingers crossed that that's true. This coming week, OpenAI is actually having their first ever development day, and I'm expecting to get some big news out of that day. So next week will probably be a big week for OpenAI, and we'll probably also learn a little bit more about this new all-in-one model that they're rolling out for us. At the end of last
Yeah, that's Tuesday. So Tuesday we get to find out whatever the thing is from OpenAI. They were probably waiting until after the UK thing. Maybe they might have even known about the executive order ahead of time as they are working with the federal government regarding regulations. So it'll be interesting to see. Notice the version number is gone from the bottom of ChatGPT. Interesting.
Last week, it was also announced that Google Bard can now respond in real time instead of you having to wait for the response. Now, this isn't huge news, but essentially what it means is if I say, create a recipe for key lime pie for me and hit enter, you'll actually see it start to write it out in real time instead of just a blank square here until it's fully generated. So if you start to see it generate and you're not happy with the generations, you can actually stop it mid-generation and have it start over. You can see I even got a notification window as this was typing. Responses will now show in real time. You can change this in the settings at any time. So if you go to your settings, you can have it respond once complete or have it respond in real time. If you're a fan of using the Brave browser, Brave is actually working on their own AI chatbot that they're calling Leo, which I think is really interesting because if you ever look at Feedly, they have their own AI that they call Feedly Leo. So I wonder if there's going to be some butting heads in the future over that name, but we'll see. It doesn't sound like the Brave AI is going to do a whole lot more than what you'd get out of something like Bing or ChatGPT. However, they're claiming that their version is going to have unparalleled privacy compared to some other AI chatbot services. And if you use the Brave browser and you update to version...
I don't know anything about Brave. Just reading off what it says here. Brave, the privacy-focused browser that automatically blocks unwanted ads and trackers, is rolling out Leo, a native AI assistant that the company claims provides unparalleled privacy compared to some other AI chatbot services. Following several months of testing, Leo is now available for use for free by all Brave desktop users running version 1.6 of the web browser. Leo is rolling out in phases over the next few days. Will be available on Android and iOS in the coming months. Brave is just Chrome wearing someone else's skin. Sam Jackson is everywhere, and people who care about privacy don't use Chrome. Fair enough. So it's a Chrome browser that probably has internalized versions of... Oh, yeah. Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson getting paid, right? Like, Sam Jackson getting paid. And no hate. What's in your wallet? So, yeah.
In 1.6 of that browser, you should now...
Capital One, if you want to sponsor the #1 AI news and commentary show on Twitch, feel free to reach out to me. I am available. I use your product, and would be more than happy to, potentially offer you some advertising space. And if you want to keep that from happening, there's only 8 subs to go to hit the sub goal. Only 8 subs to go. Hit the sub goal. So if you're not subbed or if you see someone not subbed in the chat, it's only $4.99 or free with a Twitch Prime.
Now have this Leo directly in your browser. I don't personally have Brave installed, but I sort of anticipate that it's going to work similar to the way Bing or ChatGPT does. It's just not sharing any of the data or using any of that data for training purposes. This week, Instagram also had a little leak around a new large language model.
Like any other shiny new toy, AI is ultimately a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly who we are.
I do love you. I do love you all. Thanks, Boyd. Appreciate the gifty going out to ATS. That's awesome. Multi-streaming on YouTube. It's in my nature to be native to only one like particular platform like that, you know. I'm here on Twitch. You know? I'm here on Twitch.
For their customizable AI friend. Here's some leaked screenshots.
I do love you. I do love you all. That's nice. Watch this. Boop. Featured. Old Lobster. Oh, dude. Talking to Old Lobster. Thank you, Social Deviant.
Of what this create an AI inside of Instagram looks like. You can see on this left window.
I didn't say I'm monogamous, right? And what up, Vimfox? And yeah, Ferris absolutely prefers Twitch.
Window here, it says make it.
Because when she's sleeping, she twitches. Ba-dum-bum.
AI, you can get started. Once you start creating it, you can select the gender, female, male, non-binary, age, young, adult, or elderly. You can pick an ethnicity for it. You can select personalities for it, reserved, enthusiastic, creative, witty, pragmatic, empowering. It then looks like you can select interests for the AI, you know, DIY, art and design, celebrities, gaming, entertainment.
Sorry, I did a whole bunch of pausing. I feel like this is something I might want to pay attention to.
Purposes. This week, Instagram also had a little leak around a new large language model for their customizable AI friend. Here's some leaked screenshots of what this create an AI inside of Instagram looks like. You can see on this left window here, it says make an AI. You can get started. Once you start creating it, you can select the gender, female, male, non-binary, age, young, adult, or elderly. You can pick an ethnicity.
So, read.
For it. You can select personalities for it, reserved, enthusiastic, creative, witty, pragmatic, empowering. It then looks like you can select interests for the AI, you know, DIY, art and design, celebrities, gaming, entertainment, music, etc. You can then select an avatar for that AI, name the AI, and then start chatting with the AI. Now, this hasn't been 100% confirmed, and of course, Instagram declined to comment on the matter, but this seems to be coming from a pretty reputable source. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we're not far off from having an AI builder inside of Instagram. There's another AI model on the scene called Phind, P-H-I-N-D, and according to this release here, it actually beats GPT-4 at coding and has similar speeds to
I don't know, Scarlett is the one I heard, which I think was what Boyd was referencing.
GPT 3.5. It's also got a 16,000 context window, which is larger than the context window that we actually get inside of ChatGPT right now. And this Phind tool is available right now. I'll link this blog post in the description of this video, along with all of the other content that I've mentioned in this video. But if you come to this post and you click on try the Phind model here, it opens up a chat box.
What up, Sarah? What was the movie with her and Bill Murray? Lost in Translation. Thank you. Scarlett Johansson in Lost in Translation, like, got me. Got me. Oh, that's good. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, There's been a couple of these. Like there was the Joe Rogan one where it was selling like vitamins or whatever the hell it was, and the Elon Musk one selling Bitcoin and like that. So absolutely. None of that. There's no need for any of that.
And you can see right here on the right, you can either use the find model or you can use GPT-4, and it actually lets you compare the results to find and GPT-4. It only lets you use GPT-4 10 times total, and the find model has unlimited uses, but I'm pretty sure it's here so that you can compare the results of the output you're getting. But if you've been currently using ChatGPT with GPT-4 for writing code, maybe head over to find.com and see how this does with your coding as well. I'm in the process of working on some games using AI. I think I'm going to give this Find a try and see how it compares when actually trying to create my game. This week, the AI chatbot Poe from Quora did something really interesting. They're actually allowing people who help them create the bots to monetize the bots that they created, essentially creating an AI chatbot creator economy. It says the program, which went live last week, is among the first of its kind to monetarily reward the efforts of those building AI bots. There are 2 ways for bot creators to generate income. If a bot that you create leads a user to subscribe to Poe, the company will share a cut of the revenue back with the bot's creator immediately. Another method involves bot creators setting a per message fee, and Quora will pay on every message. At the moment, this creator monetization program is only open to US users, and it pays up to $20 per user who subscribes to Poe thanks to a bot that you created. Now, I personally haven't created any bots yet myself, but here's a quick demo that they showed off of how you would go about it. You can edit your own bot with bot description, your style prompts, intro messages, bot access, the custom message limit, and once you've customized it, you can then copy that link.
I'm thinking that like I should do something like that because I know like my one friend that I talk about in data analysis is very good, very comfortable with SQL, and like I want to figure out like with all my free time, I want to figure out a challenge where like I could use one of these tools to generate the code and then give it to him, and then he could compare it to the same code that he would write to do a particular task. And yet, 100%, Boyd, like the people who use the AI are going to last longer than the people who don't or refuse to.
Link, share your bot anywhere, and then of course if somebody decides to sign up to Poe because they want to use your bot, you get that $20 cut, assuming you're in the US, but it does sound like it's going to roll out other places. And in the last bit of large language model news this week, Google commits $2 billion in funding to AI startup Anthropic. Now, Google was already an investor in Anthropic. I believe they originally invested $500 million. But this deal is interesting because obviously Google is working on Gemini with DeepMind. They have their own Palm 2 model. So Google has other AI.
I seem to recall, Jesus Christ, you having, like, this has never happened. This shot has never happened in one of his videos before. And, like, I'm being antagonized. I seem to recall, Lobster, you saying that, like, you had some resistance within spaces, and then you had opportunities to talk to people. And if I'm getting all that correctly, and these are the same people, then it looks like your timeline and like what is happening within that is like a model for what people should be doing across the broader spectrum.
models, but I think they're kind of hedging their bet a little bit because right now, for the most part, it seems that Claude is actually a better bot than what Google currently has available. But it also sounds like Google wants a piece of the pie. Anthropic is a big competitor to ChatGPT right now. So they'll have their own models and they'll have Anthropic in the same way that...
Why is there even a second camera? What are you doing? What is this?
Microsoft invested in OpenAI, but also invested in Meta's Llama. Both these big monster companies are essentially hedging their bets by investing in multiple different AI chatbot companies. Speaking of mega companies, the megaist of the companies, Apple, had an event this week called Scary Fast. During this event, they introduced their new M3 series of chips, they introduced their new MacBook Pros, and they introduced their new iMacs. But really, these M3 chips were the star of the show because the iMacs and the MacBooks that are all rolling out are rolling out with these M3.
It is. If you want to take me down, then all you have to do is somehow generate poorly painted corners within my sight line, and it will like the old thing of like if there's a vampire, you throw a handful of rice and they have to count all the rice, that kind of thing. Like that's my kryptonite. Just poorly paint all the corners of your house. Yeah, no, like now is a good time to, if you are into this ecosystem, the new stuff that is coming out from Apple could really, like, they appear to be making the investment. They went from not even want to talk about some of the stuff to like really driving it home.
3 chips. So they're essentially the same Apple computers you're used to, just now with M3 chips in them, which are just these insane processors. Believe it or not, during this keynote, they actually mentioned AI, I counted twice. They also talked about neural networks. They talked about machine learning. All of the AI buzzwords were actually in this keynote, where Apple seems to try to avoid a lot of those AI buzzwords in most of their keynotes. But it seemed like with this one, they finally started embracing it, talking about how their new chips and their new technology are good for training and leveraging AI technology. It sounds like their Apple Silicon chips are being designed with AI in mind. Now, this week, President Biden and the White...
I mean, blockchain is still out there as a thing, and there's nothing inherently wrong with blockchain. It's just the execution around crypto that is the problem. And, you know, and people finally went down for it, right? Like, at least it is the new shiny. It is. Not everything that has AI tacked onto it is something that is worthy of your time and investment, right? Like, let's not pretend that just because somebody puts AI on something that it actually brings something to the table. You always need to be skeptical. You always need media literacy, and you always need to understand, you know, it is great marketing. But it's about policy. It's not about names. It's about policy. What can the technology do for me, right? Like, how does it benefit me? What can I do with it? What effects will it have on my home life, on my business, on my job? Wherever you fall, you need to define it under those terms, not just get attached to whatever shiny new object floats in front of your field of vision.
White House issued an executive order on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. This is a really long statement here. Ben Tossell over at Ben's Bytes did a nice quick rundown, which I will also share in the description below. Any model trained with roughly 28 million H100 hours, which would cost around $50 million USD, would be limited. If you have roughly 50,000 H100s, you're also going to have some limitations. The order also directs different agencies agencies to develop new standards for AI, safety testing and monitoring, securing critical infrastructure with AI, preventing fraud, and ensuring fairness in criminal justice AI. My buddy Bilal shared a TLDR on his Twitter account about all of these various government agencies and acronyms and what they are each individually supposed to do. The NIST will set standards for AI safety testings, and DHS will establish an AI safety board to review critical infrastructure. The DOJ and civil rights offices.
I would love for them to review critical infrastructure. Like, we have stuff, we have stuff running on like Windows 3.11. Like, there are problems and they need to be addressed. And the only way you can do that with investment.
Will give guidance on avoiding algorithmic discrimination. HHS will support privacy, preserving techniques, and evaluate commercial data procurement. DOL will develop principles to protect workers from AI harms. NSF will fund research on privacy preserving technologies. The State Department and Commerce Department will collaborate internationally on AI safety. But I also retweeted this post from Bendu Reddy this week, which does a pretty good job of sharing why this executive order is probably not going to have as big of an impact as most people believe. One of the things that was suggested is that all AI generated content has to be watermarked. She says, seriously, we may as well kill Vision AI if we actually enforce that. Are enterprises allowed to use AI to generate images and use them in their marketing? This is kind of one of those things where if you require every AI image to be watermarked, well, does that mean we should be led to believe that if it has a watermark, it's always generated by AI? And if it doesn't have a watermark, then someone didn't figure out how to circumvent the system? I mean, it doesn't really seem feasible to enforce that or even keep.
I mean, I have different views on the capabilities of government, but like around this idea of watermarking and like deep fakes and disinformation, there's a lot of talk, but like, one, we already have a lot of disinformation and other stuff that runs around, and this just never seems practical to me. This entire watermarking thing seems like a waste of resources to try and get something that, like you said, I mean, it could be circumvented. Not even remove watermarks, but add watermarks, right? Like how I would be able to add watermarks to an existing image. Like I could go outside, take a picture, and then use AI to put a watermark on it and use that as disinformation. Like, often the goal of disinformation isn't even to make you believe something. It's to make you question everything that you see, because then you don't know what you can have faith in and rely on. So like this section of it, I still have yet to see how they're going to make all that work in any real practical way.
Keep up with it, because people are going to figure out how to watermark non-AI images, and people are going to figure out how to remove watermarks on AI-generated images. It's just inevitable. Some agency is apparently going to develop tests that the AI models have to pass. How will this get enforced? Does every fine-tuned version of any open-source model have to pass these tests? What happens if a model is dropped on Hugging Face by a non-US corporation? Again, how do you enforce that stuff? There's a bunch of privacy-protecting language. All this does is cripple AI models compared to search, where the same privacy isn't being enforced. Google search will recognize a face for me, GPT-4 Vision won't. It's not clear why my photo.
And it really comes down to, when it comes for all the watermarks and disinfo and deepfakes and everything else, it has to be dealt with at the end user level, right? It has to be me. I have to have the skills that hopefully, like I have learned these skills, and I learned them the hard way, but we could absolutely be teaching these skills to younger people and older folks especially, To where when I see something, I have a healthy skepticism, right? Wow, that seems like an out of character thing for that person to do. Let's look into it. Right? This kind of thing. And there's already people who uncritically share what are, to me, obviously AI. What if everyone agrees to just be gold? Stay gold, pony boy. Like I can tell that the Yoda, I mean, it would be nice if we would all agree to be good or gold. Like, stay gold, pony boy. And if you don't know what that is, you need to see The Outsiders. And I'm kind of disappointed. Yoda refrigerator. It's obviously AI art. It has all the hallmarks of AI art. And it's being shared uncritically on Facebook by people who think that they can get a Yoda refrigerator. And not like a little guy sit on your desk, right? But like a full-sized Yoda, or full-size refrigerator in the style of Yoda. And you look in the comments and you lose hope.
Photo that is in the public domain can't be.
Wouldn't you though? Like as I was talking about it, right? Like little desk fridge that looks like Baby Yoda. If they didn't make that, like they're missing an opportunity to make a shit ton of cash.
Used by AI. We already have privacy protecting laws. These should be sufficient. She goes on to say, net, this order won't make any difference in the near term, could be harmful in the long run to companies who do develop these foundation models, especially vision models. Continuing on with the theme of AI safety, there was the AI Safety Summit in England this week, where China, US, and the EU all agreed to work together. This summit included members from...
Why would Stretch Armstrong? What did Stretch Armstrong have to do with that?
Continuing on with the theme of AI safety, there was the AI Safety Summit in England this week, where China, US, and the EU all agreed to work together. This summit included members from China, the European Commission, India, United Arab...
I don't even know what's going on anymore. There's the side cuts, there's Stretch Armstrong in the video, there's the JBP video. What has happened to the world since we entered November? We are off the rails. The simulation is broken. The devs are on strike. I don't know what's happening.
Arab Emirates and Nigeria. Basically, all these countries got together saying that we all understand the risks that AI could create. So let's make sure we're all on the same page about creating it safely and ethically and trying to also minimize various biases together in these AIs. Once again, Ben Tossell from Ben's Bytes put together a nice little breakdown of what you need to know. Again, shared in the description. Different countries apparently have different areas of focus. So the US is going to get companies to make voluntary commitments and adhere to reporting requirements, launching an AI safety institute of its own under the Department of Commerce. China is working on equal rights for every country to develop and use AI, global cooperation to share AI knowledge with the public on open source terms. EU is working on innovation, opening up EU supercomputers to train models for free of charge. They're working on guardrails and governance. India AI is working on AI as an enabler of mass digital adoption, and so on. There's various countries involved, all committing to work on different aspects of these challenges. This week, the Beatles dropped their last Beatles song. It's called Now and Then. You can actually find it on YouTube. The song was actually created with the assistance of machine learning. They took some old tapes of John Lennon, were able to use machine learning to separate his audio from the rest of the music, and then clean up the audio, and then produce a new track with his.
So within this context, I can understand arguments against, that people might have about like someone creating an album of somebody's likeness who has died, and like we're going to stick with people who have died. And then releasing that. But what about the estate itself, right? And within you could do it within whatever parameters you want to, but if you did it within a contextual parameter, like the prolific songwriters who might not have gotten a chance to record a particular song, you could have an album of unfinished greats from Freddie Mercury, right? I love Freddie. How would you don't have to answer in chat, you can just think about it. How would you feel about that? Is that something that you think is something that should exist? Is something that you would want? Is it something where, like, should people just cease to exist? You know what I mean? I understand from the legal aspect. I'm talking about what people want. Right? Like, what do people desire? As a fan of any particular, like, one of the things that disappoints me, I would love to see the Doors live. Now that is a much farther, like, with some virtual reality shit and holograms and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But, like, I would have liked to see the Doors live. I love the Doors. And so that, like, AI hologram Jim Morrison wouldn't offend me, you know what I mean? Like, that is something that I would actively desire to do. Eliminating everything else, like just taking it within that context. There you go. Like, is there someone that you would see or listen to new stuff from them, even though they are incapable of creating themselves?
Vocals, pretty cool little thing that we get to witness, in that we get to hear the last ever Beatles song with John Lennon actually singing on it. In a attempt to be part of the AI hype and buzz, Doritos devised an AI-powered crunch cancellation technology for gamers, where you can eat your Doritos chips while on a game and it will mute out the sound of the chips crunching, I guess.
Okay. So hear me out, right? Like, it's funny, it's Doritos, yada yada, but, like, let's be real. Like, your boy doesn't eat on stream, and I'm not, I got some streamers I watch, they eat on stream, and I got some that are adamantly against it. I got friends who know how to eat with their mouth closed when we're playing video games, and I've got other ones who don't, right? Like, let's get to the point where we can just turn that off so I don't have to listen to it anymore. It would be sweet. Imagine not using the mute button. People have different priorities.
Yes, where in reality, what you really need is, like...
Oh, yeah, no, that is... especially, like, well, if you think about it, past a certain era, like, there are some people that it would be much more challenging, for obvious reasons, to create a digital AI likeness of them. But, like, I have a certain amount of internet content, both personal and public, and like that. And that I'm not going to die, but, like, someone else, were to have that for, like, their grandkids, where their grandkid could, as a child, interact with this AI grandparent as part of that. I can see it both ways, don't get me wrong, but for me, it sounds pretty goddamn cool. Never saw Buckley live. He was like 16 when he died. He mostly did small random shows and bars. Yeah. All they need is 2D picture and voice sample. Oh, the voice sample, but like the more data you give it, the more accurate it's going to be, right? Like, because I don't just want it to be able to speak like for me, like if I was talking about me, not to speak the words that come out of my mouth, but like speak like me, right? Because there are ways that I speak that could be more subtle, that you only know what's missing when it's not there, right? Like when I look at Old Lobster's created quite a few different things, and that is not me, right? Like it's pretty easy to tell that it is not me, but you're right, Boyd, like it could be soon. And won't that be a stream?
Something to not get Doritos dust on your fingers, because who wants to play games, touch their keyboard and mouse with Dorito hands? This is really cool. AI can...
You've obviously never seen streamers. I've seen people who make way more money than I do doing this job, and their rooms are an absolute disaster. It should be it should be TOS to have a room that disgusting.
Can diagnose type 2 diabetes in 10 seconds from your voice.
What?
They trained an AI model to diagnose type 2 diabetes in patients after 6 to 10 seconds of listening to their voice. They trained it to recognize 14 vocal differences in the voice of someone with type 2 diabetes compared to someone without diabetes. The auditory features that the AI focused on include slight changes in pitch and in...
This sounds wild. Big if true, right? Like, but like that sounds wild to me.
Intensity, which human ears cannot distinguish. This was paired with basic health data gathered by the researchers, such as age, sex, height, and weight. And finally, in the last bit of fun news for the week, AI was...
I don't know if it's true, right? Like I learned it here with you at the same time. But it could be, right? Like I'm allowing enough space that it could be true, that there could be data points that exist outside of what we might recognize as human beings, because we look for particular things, and there could be more information buried in those layers that we're just not perceiving.
It's named the Word of the Year by Collins Dictionary. Apparently, use of the term has quadrupled this year alone. They said that we know that AI has been a big focus this year in the way that it has developed and has quickly become as ubiquitous and embedded in our lives as email, streaming, or any other once futuristic, now everyday technology. So that's pretty cool. And if you want to find some other pretty cool tools, check out futuretools.io.
You should absolutely check out futuretools.io. Okay, I'm going to put this Wes Roth State of AI report into the Discord. It is, I've already listened to it. It's good. It's just a little like, it's not exciting. And a lot of it is stuff that you have already heard about, but if you want like a deeper dive on it, it's all in here. And then there's more details, which again, don't make good content, but make good good knowledge. Oh yeah. New robot.
The time invested into keeping Thel B. Overman Phil looking...
Can y'all just normalize the volume on YouTube?
Incredible for the Wallace Rose Hill Bulldogs under the Friday night lights at Legion Stadium is unmatched.
It's just something that if you don't enjoy it, you won't do it for long. It's been 42 years, so I've enjoyed every second of it almost.
It's just as nice as some college fields. when it comes to the detail and to the color and to what's put on this field.
A lot has to be done to the field
Jesus
ahead of
Christ.
each home game before the boys can go to battle, though. The lines, numbers, and hash marks all have to be painted, and boy, oh boy, is every little
Like, I thought this was like just a local, but this is like super local. But go off, King.
detail crucial, but that is now easier than ever before thanks to Turf Tank robots.
We used to pride ourselves on running straight lines when we were doing it by hand. But after this, I figured out I was second best. We were second best, maybe.
The autonomous GPS.
It's nice to see this, right? Like, this is older folks, and like, this is football. And a lot of whatever you feel about football and whatever you feel about a community's relationship with football, it should be understood that certain communities regard their relationship with football as like a sacred thing. It's like, God and football, you know what I mean? But like, they are embracing this.
Guided robots are designed to paint athletic fields, but in half the time it's taken volunteer David Morgan for over a decade.
Where it took me 22 hours, took it about 2 hours.
Morgan says he's painted the Bulldog logo and field by hand since the 1990s, but the torch was passed down from Pete Blanton and the late Ivy Jones, who started in 1982. Morgan and Blanton say they're grateful for Turf Tank because painting by hand was physically taxing.
It's cool to have stuff done by hand, but you can't ignore what technology gives us these days.
We can only do things for so long.
The Turf Tank robots paint and outline every inch of the field, but Morgan, Blanton, and a few coaches from the Bulldog coaching staff have to fill in the logo by hand. So from now on, when you step foot into Legion Stadium and you're mesmerized at how beautiful the black and orange pop out.
The internet is forever, right? Like, that just went on your permanent record. Just so you're aware, be careful.
Out and catch your attention, you must first remember that while Turf Tank has made things easier, we must never forget those and pay homage to those who have laid the groundwork well before technology came into the picture. In Duplin County, Jalen Holloway, WITN News.
I like him. I like his enthusiasm. But yeah, this is a model for the embracing of technology. The reasons given, like, there's only so much that you can do, like, you're physically taxing, and the fact that it went from a 22-hour project to a 2-hour project. The humans still have to come and fill in the logo, but like, that's only a matter of time. And this is practical for what appears to be a high school or maybe a local college stadium. So it's like they don't have a lot of money to invest in this, and the technology is there where there is a robot now to do that job for them. And why do I feel like Adam Altogether is going to be hacking paint robots to go wild and paint the streets? And we've only watched one video from Matt Vid Pro, but they are a associate of Matt Wolf, and let's see what's included in this. It may be the same AI news and may be boring as shit, but here we go.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video here on the
Just normalize volume across the platform. It's easy peasy. Easy peasy.
at VidPro AI YouTube channel. I think that you guys are really going to like today's video. Now, really, everything that we're talking about today is a highlight, but just to go over some of the things we're going to talk about, the most popular AI text-to-video generator got a major update, and man, the AI video generation is...
And you don't have chapters, bro? What are you even doing? Are you not talking about it? All right, we'll roll.
Starting to get really, really good. Midjourney released a brand new feature that they're calling Style Tune, and it's really interesting to see this brand new...
Yeah, we did that. Did I fall for a commercial? I did.
News, NVIDIA has been working on a way that generative AI can actually be used to create the very chips that generative AI runs on. This comes in the form of a custom large language model that they're calling ChipNeMo. Now, it is trained on NVIDIA's internal data that they use to make computer chips, and this on DALL-E 3. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with that raw DALL-E 3 horsepower, but with those unique features like style tuning, maybe it's possible. If you're an AI artist, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And speaking of AI image generators, Ideogram AI, which made the news a few months back because they released a completely free model that could generate text. This came out before DALL-E 3, has made an upgrade to Ideogram 0.2. It significantly improves overall image quality, renders more accurate and natural text, and offers realistic details at a faster speed. It's now the default on the Ideogram AI website. Yeah, it's completely free. That's the big part about this. Just by this image alone that they've posted of the cat wearing a suit holding the sign that actually says something, I can already tell there's a bump in quality. Now, of course, can this compete with DALL-E 3? Methinks not yet. While DALL-E 3 is completely free inside of Bing Chat, you're limited to a certain amount of generations per day, and they only refill every so often, and the servers are absolutely getting thwacked for DALL-E 3. So whether you're generating on ChatGPT or Bing Chat, the generation time is both slow and sometimes it doesn't work at all. I really suggest you guys give Ideogram a shot. It's a really nice generator and I'm rooting for it. They are the underdog. You can see they're actually able to generate some pretty accurate meme text. The cat in the image definitely has more detail than we previously saw with Ideogram. This is a really impressive piece here, doing that chalk. That's not easy to do with an AI image generator. Bring your ideas to life, and it's all correctly spelt. Ideogram is definitely an impressive generator. You can see it does some more creative details as well, is able to preserve those tree details quite well while also preserving the details of the man's face. We've got another one. This is more of like a splatter artistic one, something you'd see from Midjourney. Pretty good, although still a little bit mushy and gushy inside of the space suit. DALL-E 3 is much better at pixel art than this model, but this is better than something like Midjourney. They're showing that it's getting there. The model is getting there. I think this one came out quite nice, although this is something you'd probably also see from Midjourney. And finally, we got some realism here. Portrait photography is looking pretty nice with this model. Overall, this one is really exciting. Like I said, I'm rooting for Ideogram. They're the underdog in the AI world, and they do some great stuff for completely free. Robin Delta is bringing us some news about Google's Duet AI. This is actually morphed right into some of the pre-built Google products, as you can see from this image, making AI helpful for everyone. Now, this is like a little co-pilot for all of these little Google products. So we have one for Google Slides here, where it can make slides for you and organize them. You can type a prompt in and it can help you visualize that using Imagen. You can even add different styles that are pre-baked into Imagen, apparently, and toss them right into your slides. It's only a little bit less work than using DALL-E 3, for example. This one I think is a little bit more cool. This is for Google Meets, and it's integrated with the Duet AI. It can take notes for you and give you a summary overall of the meeting so far. I think that's pretty cool and actually really, really useful. That's a feature I would genuinely use in my meetings. They've also got a document summarizer that can answer questions and provide some updates on chats you missed inside of a group chat. And finally, what people are probably the most excited for is the Google Sheets. You can actually organize, manage, and track a bunch of data that you put inside of Google Sheets. We'll have to see how well this actually works in practice. Microsoft is coming out with something very similar with their Copilot for Office 365 that should be coming out pretty soon. So we'll have to see how these stack up against each other. Get subscribed. They have a few more like the workspace prompts, the coding assistant, one of many coding assistants that are out there using large language models, and of course integration into all these third-party apps. So if you're wondering if you can access this Google stuff yet, no you can't. It's kind of like a limited sign-up thing all inside of Google Cloud, so developers are getting access first, but I assume they're going to bring this to everyone eventually. I think a lot of you might find this the most exciting piece of news yet. Gen 2 got a massive update, and you can see Jamie is showing it off on Twitter. There's a lot more consistency in the generations. They look more real. The movement.
Yeah, this is a new this is the runway, another video of that, and it didn't exist 5 months ago, right? 5 months ago there was nothing, and on this field they have built this.
Is way better, and overall the fidelity is just increased with Gen 2. Pika Labs is also working on another update to their stuff as well, so all these video generators are just competing with each other and developing their tech as fast as they can. Little Gen 1 tab here for you to generate videos for entirely free. Go check it out if you want, but yeah, like I said, beware, you're gonna probably crash their servers. Speaking of free stuff, OpenChat, which is an open source large language model just like ChatGPT, has been released on Hugging Face. Open source means anyone can download and use this thing, and they claim that they're getting results that are matching ChatGPT, the free version, obviously not GPT-4.
All right, we've seen the rest of this stuff. So, that's going to be it for today. It is Friday, so we have movie night beginning around 8:15, and I expect 8:15 should work in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord and you want to be in the Discord. Every time I hear it, Hugging Face and Face Hugger, it's like, just ask. Just ask. We'll tell you why you shouldn't name your thing that. So, you want to be in the Discord? Gonna watch a movie. Tonight's movie is the classic Rollerball. Not the remake. And it's usually a good time. If you haven't wanted to join a movie night because you don't want to sit around with a bunch of people doing the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing, making fun of the movie, we don't do that. We watch the movie, and there's a separate chat for people. Rollerball was supposed to be last week, but I ran out of time because I ended up talking to Talorx for 2.5 hours. There's a separate chat for people who want to chat about what's going on in the movie, as opposed to watch the movie and then the rest of us are just watching the movie in wonderful quietness. And we're gonna raid Neurolesia. I believe I have that spelled correctly. I could have added them because they actually were here today and spoke. So yeah, we're gonna head on over there. If you're not coming around for movie night, I will see you all Monday. If this is your first time here, you want to drop that follow. You don't want to drop that follow because you're not a follower type. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be here because I love to talk about AI. And based on today's totally organic numbers, you like to hear about AI. So I appreciate everyone who came through today. Drink some water. Eat some food. Take your meds if you forgot. Doggy loves you. So do I. Be great. Why are you still here? Yep. Everybody else made it. For some reason, you two didn't. And I feel like I shouldn't leave you here alone. I spell it wrong? No, she's like I'm literally. That's her. I'll get you a linky.
Making it more appealing on the front end for the user, how that impacts things. And I just thought it was really interesting. So, check it out. And, it's nice to branch out. Like we talk a lot about brain science and
There you go.
that sort of stuff. And there's increasing overlap in these areas. So anyways, I think it's really cool. Check them out. Rat, Octavia 324. I don't have the right thingy loaded, so I can't see what rat L and rat R and rat L and rat R are, but I love it because rat. Probs just need to reduce the time of the alert. It used to be pretty quick. Like I haven't changed it, and it would go like and just like overlap. Like if there was one and it made the little alert and then someone did again, it would just override it and like kind of, like